I'm Chrissy,
And I'm Michelle,
and this is the Morally Grayscale.
where we talk all things bookishly great.
That was really smooth that time. We totally
We
effed that
did it.
up that time.
We did it.
We did it. Okay, what are we talking about first? Book talk drama. Okay, I really haven't seen anything this week. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, so it's a little old. It's
Okay.
been kind of like over the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
Because I'm a dark romance girly. I'm on dark romance TikTok.
Yep.
Of course, the Rena Kent stuff has come up across my FYP quite a bit. And it seems to be more heavily geared in favor of Rena Kent.
I do know what you're talking about, and I have seen that also. Yeah.
So for people that aren't tracking, Rena Kent is a white author. She writes her main characters as white characters, and some of her fan base has started to be a little upset that she hasn't started to write people of color as her main characters. Rena Kent came out and said that she probably never will write a person of color as her main character because she feels like she wouldn't be able to write into that culture properly without diving into specific stereotypes, and she just feels like she wouldn't be able to do it justice the way that a real person of color author, like an AOC, an author of color, could do with their own.
And this is coming from a white girl's perspective, so take it with a grain of salt or educate me if I'm just coming off completely uneducated in this. I actually respect her for that because she is even saying, hey, there are authors of color, go read them. And I agree. If that's what you want to see, seek it out. There's always something that's going to fit what you want to read, if that makes sense, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah, there are options out there. I personally don't know any of those options. I reached out through Reddit. Reddit took down my post. I've done a lot of Goodreads stuff, and there are a lot of AOCs out there that write dark romance and romance novels. They do also have a lot of white main characters, but they also do write people of color as well.
Yep.
And I feel like with them living that experience, they would know how to properly write that into their storylines.
Yeah. So that's kind of a heavy topic to start our podcast off with.
It's a little heavy.
But it's a good topic, and it does need to be talked about. So seek out those authors. You know, if you have a certain genre that you want to read and you want to read from a certain viewpoint, it exists out there, and I implore you to seek it out and read it.
You just won't find a monster to write monster fucker romance, but, you know.
I guess we're going to have to stick with our traditional authors for that.
That's just going to be a
stereotyped.
A stereotype.
Our aliens are reading and they're like, that's not what it's like. You guys are stereotyping.
So for our upcoming books, there is one, speaking of, I don't want to call her a monster because she's not a monster. She just happens to have green skin, and that is Elphaba. So Gregory Maguire is coming out with a book called Elfie, and it is following Elphaba in her childhood. So we could potentially see a little bit of light trauma coming through with that, and that is going to be released on the 25th of March.
I don't want to say surprised because I also don't follow him as that closely, but I have read 3 or 4 of Gregory Maguire's books, and one of them being Wicked. So, but I haven't read him in like almost 5 years, 6 years or so. So I was not tracking that at all. So I'm actually pretty excited about that, and I probably will read it.
Yeah.
We also have Suzanne Collins. Thank you for getting us back into the Hungerverse. Hunger Game verse? Hungerverse. How would I say that?
Hungerverse is fine.
Hungerverse? Okay, we'll stick with it. Can I say it right this time? Sunrise on the reaping. Keep saying weeping. It's reaping. Speech impediment. Sunrise on the reaping. And it's Hamish's story. We have been asking for this one for years, and so I'm excited.
I'm very excited for that one, and I have a feeling we're going to get some big moments of trauma
Yes.
out of it, just based off of Hamish's character in the first 3 books that were published.
Because he was part of the Quarter Quell, the 50th Quarter Quell. And if I'm remembering correctly, the lore there is that they had 4 tributes instead of the regular 2 tributes from each district. And his girlfriend is one of them along with him. So I don't know how that's going to play out. Well, obviously we know who wins, but
we do know
how is it going to play out? What happens? And I'm very interested to learn all that. So I will be reading that. And that is also, March 25th?
March 25th.
Okay.
Yeah. And then coming out on March 20th, we talked about her in the very first segment of Book Talk Drama. Rena Kent has a book coming out called Kiss the Villain. And it is a professor-student relationship where there is a golden boy who does something bad, and he happens to get caught by the villain as he's doing something bad. And next thing you know, that villain is walking into the classroom as the new professor.
Ooh, that sounds spicy.
I do love a professor-student. And
age-appropriate
yes,
professor-student.
Especially since it is of consenting age. Yes.
And that does matter.
It does.
Also, okay, we actually can go back to Book Talk Drama, and I actually completely forgot about this. Have you seen that Allie Hazelwood is releasing an age gap book?
Oh, it's like 23 and 36. Yeah.
And people are up in arms. I'm like, guys, you read 19 to 500. Are you good?
There is also a very... I started to read it. I stopped reading it because of that type of age gap where it was 17 and 34.
See, 17, that's wrong. No.
I couldn't do it. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
The female main character turns 18 fairly quickly, but the very first encounter happens while she is 17.
I don't know. That feels icky to me.
And
I'm sorry.
She did lie about her age to the main male character.
It's giving Pretty Little Liars.
He found out, and then he was like, whoa, not okay.
Yeah.
But, like, there was still that weird tension and everything, and it just was kind of
yeah,
not it for me.
I think it's better when you have, like, 23, you are an adult. You can make your own decisions.
I would agree with that.
And I don't think 23 to 36 is a grooming type thing. So
No.
I think it's totally fine. Sorry, I didn't mean to, like, jump all the way back to Book Talk Drama, but I thought about that when you were talking about Professor Student.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. As alluded to in our previous episode, we are on vacation,
Yes.
which is why we have a little bit of a different background than usual.
Yes.
Our books are out here for the front instead of behind us, and we are currently shored, whatever it's called,
At Port
Cozumel.
Yes.
In Mexico.
Yeah.
So we are trying to film as much content as we can.
Yeah.
If you would like to see the adventures of a lime whose name is Lime Rick, you can follow him on Instagram at limerick.vacations. Yeah. And there may be a little story to tell along the ride of Carnival Legend.
He does have a romantic interest right now. It's gonna get spicy.
We might.
What spicy are we gonna get?
What kind of spice? Is it gonna be dark? Is it gonna be light?
I don't know. He's kind of a player, so I don't know what's gonna happen.
I feel like Lime Rick can go either way.
He could. But limerick.vacations on Instagram. It's a good time, I promise.
Yes, it is. But for that, we wanted to talk a little bit about vacation reads today. This is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter episode because we want to get back out there. Or, maybe take a nap.
Read a little bit more.
Yeah, get to do our little book swap, right?
Ooh.
But when we were doing some research on what people typically read while they're on vacation, I was a little shocked by it.
I was too. So what we found out when people are on vacations, they the more popular genre is thrillers, which that doesn't necessarily surprise me. It's that they want to read, like, so we're on a cruise, so I specifically looked for cruise, and they want to read cruise thrillers. I'm like, I don't want to read about a serial killer. They come knock on my door and try to kill me or something and be like, no, Michelle, she's a dark romance girly. She's a few rooms down. You want her?
They come knocking on my door and I'm like, I really didn't want to live out my books. Okay, I was just kidding.
Oh, okay. Do you want to tell the story with our Airbnb? I think that's a good enough story
Okay.
to... Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So speaking of living out your dark romance books.
Yes.
And then also on vacation on our way down here, we were driving and we stopped at our Airbnb the night before.
Let's set up some story here. I've been driving for
Okay,
12 hours. I'm tired. I'm done. I'm done driving at this point. I want it to be over. Okay. And it's 3 young, cute females, you know? Young, right? Females.
Yeah, young.
We're looking at you.
And so we pull into the Airbnb after being on this 12-hour road trip that was only supposed to be 9 hours, which was a little stress-inducing already.
Its own story.
So we pull up, not expecting a white kidnapper's van with a cage in the back that you can see because we had the brights on. And we automatically, all 3 of us just looked at each other and were like,
Nope.
No, absolutely not happening.
So we flip around and we leave.
We flipped.
Yeah.
And we were like, what do we do? I don't know. I was like, well, I have a free night available at this hotel chain. We can do this. I was like, let me contact the Airbnb host to see maybe if it's like, you know, it's something that's supposed to be there. It turns out it was his vehicle.
It's just an extra vehicle. He keeps parked there.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was for his business, right? It was dark. It was...
Okay, in daylight, it was not nearly as creepy. And you could see the logo on the side, so I wasn't nearly as creeped out in the daylight. But at night, I've read too many books. I read too many thrillers at this point.
Yeah, I have...
See? So if I were to have read, like, an Airbnb thriller right beforehand, I wouldn't have been able to sleep. I was freaking out with nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, luckily, you know, he got back to us in plenty of time, and he kind of had a chuckle about it, so I think he understood kind of like our thought process on it and everything. Everything else was great with that Airbnb.
It was.
So,
yeah.
but just goes to show that, like, yeah, we can say I want to live my dark romance books, but sometimes we're like, maybe not.
No, I'm married. Take her. She wants a dark, brooding, tall person. She wants to be kidnapped and fall in love.
Okay, don't put that on the internet.
Just kidding. I'm joking. No, I'm kidding. You're good. Next thing.
Please don't kidnap me.
Please don't kidnap her. I like her. We're friends. She's the only person I like at work. No, that's not true.
Okay. We got a lot of off topic on that one.
I'm just kidding to my actual friend. We're gonna have to cut that. I don't know. I'm gonna offend too many people.
It's fine. We can keep it. It's okay. It just goes to show how much you're willing to risk me. It's okay.
No, I don't want to risk her.
Anyway,
scare me.
let's get back on track. So for vacation reads, what I typically like to read, and I feel like what you also typically like to read, are rom-coms.
Yes.
However, what I'm currently reading is not a rom-com. It is very much a dark romance. But rom-coms, they're light, they're airy. It's just like, I know what's going to happen, and I'm okay with that.
Yes. That's what I want. I don't want to say mind-numbing, but I don't want to have to think through a mystery. I don't want to have to think about the fantasy or the magic system. I just want something simple. And I love HEAs, but I don't always want an HEA. Happily ever after. But on a vacation, I do. I just want to know everybody's going to be happy at the end. I want to be happy. I want my characters happy.
Yeah.
Everything happy.
Yeah. Happily ever after is always nice. You can do a dark rom-com. Lights Out would be a great one. Actually, Butcher and Blackbird would be a great one because they have their annual game and they go travel and they go do all of that stuff.
See, they're on vacation. We're on vacation.
Yeah. One that I'm actually really excited to start reading that I haven't started reading yet is a dark rom-com where it is a serial killer retreat. And
that sounds good to me.
And a girl goes to this serial killer retreat to try and find her brother's murderer.
Yeah.
And little does she know, she connects with her brother's murderer.
Ooh, that's spicy.
Yes, but it is called Sinner's Retreat, and it is by Lauren Beale. So I will be, hopefully, once I finish our swapsies, I will be reading that.
Maybe I'll be reading that also.
Yeah.
That actually kind of sounds good to me.
Yes.
After we finish our swapsies, I'm going back to the Wild
Eyes.
Yeah, Wild Eyes and the Wild Side. Might be able to get them all done. I read that in a day.
Yeah.
But this, definitely recommend. Very light. Very funny. I love Cora.
Yeah.
So, it's a good book.
Yeah.
But what's your favorite type of vacation read? What do you want to What do you want to dive into? Am I weird? Are we weird by liking our rom-coms? Or do you want to go into a thriller?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Do you want to use your brain and try to solve a mystery? Or do you just kind of want to be able to put a book down, go to dinner, come back, and pick it back up and not have to try to remember the plot line?
We do love that.
I do love that.
They had to force me to go to dinner last night. I was like, I'm reading. Thank you so much.
It is true. She was like, but they just had their first kiss. And I was like, no spoilers.
It's a romance. Of course they're going to kiss at some point. I was like, and they end a virgin. The end.
It's a timeline thing. Now I knew when to expect it. But what else did we have to talk about?
I think that was actually it for today. We were going to talk about our actual reads, and we started getting into that. Well, I started getting into that a little bit, so I can describe this book and what I have been reading. This is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This is now my third Elsie Silver book, which I hadn't read anything by her until December, and now I'm addicted.
Yeah, this will be my first Elsie Silver.
I'm really excited for you because, okay, so a quick premise. You find all of this out in, like, chapter 1 and 2, so I am not spoiling a thing of this book right now. But he's a billionaire. He's the world's hardest billionaire or whatever.
I mean...
Right.
Yeah.
And he is, presumably, I would expect, from the first chapter, his best friend has a sister. I don't know if something's going to happen there. I don't know. And then you find out that he was a sperm donor at some point, and he has a daughter who is in the rest of the book, and she is the best character. Her name's Cora. She's my favorite character of this entire book. I would read it just for her, but the love is good also.
Yeah.
And I like that part too. It's a really good, I do highly recommend it for anybody that wants to read it. Hot Billionaire. Unknown Child.
Narrated by Zachary Weber.
Ooh, it is.
A.K.A. Jacob Morgan. And the female narrator is also very good. I just don't remember her name off the top of my head.
It's like a pop quiz that I'm going to fail.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of her name either. She's narrated multiple books I've read.
She has. I just can't think of what her name is.
She's not Zachary Weber.
She's not Zachary Weber.
But she's really good.
She does very well.
She does.
She's just not Zachary Weber.
Okay. What are you reading?
So I am diving into a dark cowboy romance.
Ooh.
By the name of Swallow Your Fear. And it is by Kayla Brenna, I believe. Carly Brenna.
Same thing.
It's
been a long day.
Not really the same thing. I'm tired.
We've been. She's been drinking.
I'm on vacation.
Right. There's no judgment. She's over 21. I know it's hard to tell. Because we're young.
But it is a dark cowboy romance where there's 3 men, so I could potentially see this becoming a standalone connected series.
Oh, okay. I
Yes.
love those.
But
this is going to be also.
This is only the first book, and it's currently the only book that is out. But it follows Booker as the main male character.
Okay.
Booker is the very, very hot. He's a masked man, along with his 2 roommates. They live on this farm. Booker owns it. Somehow his deed ends up in a bad bet by one of his buddies who lives with him. They come across this girl who happens to be the guy that stole the deed or won the deed.
Okay.
He didn't steal it, technically. He won it. And he's not a great guy, so Booker steps in to help this girl.
I love that.
And things go down the line from there.
Spoiler.
Not really.
And they kiss.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. You'll have to read it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's a short read. It's a quick read. It's fun. Booker's great. He's very possessive, and we love that.
I love that.
Yeah, we love that in a fictional.
In fictional,
Men.
not real life.
And fictional men.
I know. I'm definitely getting kidnapped after this episode. I'm so sorry.
We love a
fictional.
red flag man. Not a non-fiction red flag man. You can go away.
Yeah, we've had enough of those.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Right. But I think there's one thing that we need to do before we end it, and that is...
Oh no, I'm in danger.
A little bit of a swapsies. And until next time, keep questioning the things between black and white.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one.